I'm Nisha Gehring.
And I'm Doug Jessup. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other.
And these stories deserve to be passed down. It is time for Family Heritage Stories.
Welcome to Family Heritage Stories, where we help people understand where they came from. Things like traditions, values, and culture.
How are those stories passed down from generation to generation? Through words, through deeds, through stories.
We all benefit from heroes among us. Now, they're going to say, it's just part of the job. But it's more than that. It's time for Hero Salute Stories. This is Doug Jessup with another episode of Veteran Success Stories. With me today, Ron Haycock. Now, Ron, you have a company that's called Pratt & Lefevre.
Correct.
Now, what's interesting is that there's a reason behind that name. Okay, your last name is not Pratt.
It's Haycock.
And your last name is not Lefevre.
That's correct.
Okay, who the heck are Pratt & Lefevre?
Well, one of the things I wanted to do when I started this company was to give deference to my family, my heritage, but I also wanted to find a name that nobody else would choose.
Okay, that would work.
Right? And so I said, all right, let's take a name that's well known in Utah, which is Pratt, right? Because it's my mother's maiden name.
Okay.
And then Lefevre is my great-grandmother's maiden name.
Okay. Now, you have, for lack of a better term, an accounting firm.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's the interesting part, guys. Okay. The reason why this is a veteran success story is because I won't say that you're Klinger, but you were a clerk, and clerks kind of know what they're doing. So where were you a clerk?
In the Marine Corps. During my stay in San Diego for almost 2 years, and then also when I was shipped to Japan, I was a clerk there also.
And what time area are we talking here?
See, I went to San Diego in 1968 and was there until November of 1969. So about a year and a half, almost, I'd say probably 10 months.
So during the Vietnam War.
Right, during Vietnam.
Okay.
And then I got shipped to Japan after that, and I was there for a little over 2 years. So I came home. I got there in November of 69 and got home in March of 1972.
Well, number one, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Welcome home. But so why accounting? I mean, yeah, I get the clerk thing, and now I understand the name, but what made you say, I want to do this?
What's really interesting is that when I was in high school, I hated math.
Okay.
Right? I couldn't find any reason for it. They tried to teach me trigonometry and all of these different
All the
things.
stuff you're never going to use, yeah?
Yeah, and I saw no reason behind it. I didn't like theory. I wanted something practical.
Okay.
Right? Then I went to business college, and it was a private business school in Twin Falls, Idaho. And the teacher there was one of the guys that owned the school, went in there and taught me how to do things in my head and add things up. And I used to remember going shopping with my wife when I was first starting my business, and I'd say, here's how much money you got. And I would walk with her as she would put it in, and I would add it up in my head and calculate the interest. And then back to there, and when we checked out, I was within $1 every time.
Wow.
And I learned how to do that in business school. I thought, this is cool. There's got to be a reason for it.
That's neat.
Right?
Okay, so you did that, and how long have you been an accountant now?
Since 1985.
Wow, quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's something interesting where you don't own anything.
No, that's
it's
exactly
just like,
correct.
How the heck do you do that?
I actually wrote a book called Own Nothing, Control Everything.
Okay, explain.
We call it the ONCE cash flow system,
Okay.
ONCE, Own Nothing, Control Everything. John Rockefeller came up with that name, with that title. He taught that,
Okay.
right? And I looked it up when I wrote the book, and I applied for a copyright on that name.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Nobody else had copyrighted it.
Very
And
cool.
they use it all the time. So
Okay.
and that's okay, but it's really more for the book, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So could people still use it all this time, and there's nothing I can do about that. But the idea is You don't make money off of owning an asset. You make money off of controlling it.
Okay.
Whatever you own can be taken.
True.
So you want to make sure that you put yourself in a position where what you own, you can keep and you can use it, but you don't own it.
Okay, so give me an example.
Let's take your home, for instance.
Okay.
Right? So in my home right now, I probably have $200,000 or $300,000 equity.
Okay.
How do I get the equity out of my house?
Usually you'd have to sell it or mortgage it.
And if I went out and borrowed money on it, that's my equity that I'm paying somebody else interest for. Why do I want to do that? And if I sell it, I lose the asset.
Right.
So why not turn it into a usable, practical business asset? Now, in accounting, we call it a capital asset. And a capital asset is something that earns money for the company. So if you take a company that you own, right, but you put your asset into that, and then you don't own the asset any longer, but
Okay.
you can rent the asset, then you also have maybe a couple of other areas out there that may also rent it, right? But you control those things. Now it has become a capital asset.
And the company owns it, not
And
the
the
person.
company owns it, not the individual.
Okay. Is there a particular legal structure that you recommend?
Has to be, yes. The problem is that the IRS is what they call related party rules.
Okay.
In order to be able to do this without doing what they call a conflict of interest, is you have to separate the individual from the business.
Right.
And so what we do is we recommend that we have a corporation that's the main company, that's the visible company, that's the brand,
Right.
right? Makes the money. And you don't own it, but you have a family revocable trust that is the owner.
Oh, that's the thing.
Right.
Okay.
But the trust is run by the trustees, and you and your wife are the trustees of that trust. But when you're in the trust, working for the trust, you are the trust. You are not Doug Jessup.
Okay. Now, do you, for people out there watching, do you guys, set up all the legal stuff? I mean, so are you basically a one-stop shop?
Yes, we do everything for businesses that they need to have. There's not a thing that we don't do.
With another veteran success story, and Ron Haycock, the owner of Pratt & Lefevre. Actually, I'm not even sure you're the owner. It's more the controller, but you got to watch the episode to figure that out. I'm Doug Jessup. We'll be right back.
Thank you for joining us for this special episode of Family Heritage Stories. If you would like to help us continue with this great and important programming, please visit herosalute.stories.org.
For me, when I saw that they were going to do it, it was a good, easy decision. I said, yep, I'm going. I want to see some people maybe that I haven't seen for a long time, meet some people that I've never met before. And the recognition of our service and what we did, even though it's taking a long time, is okay. And I believe that, the way the Vietnam veterans generation was treated, nastily and in an ugly way, if we're the only generation of veterans that's ever treated that way, put it on our shoulders, we can take it, it's okay, it's over, it's done. And I'm very, very happy that they treat all of the younger veterans generations behind us with the way that they do now. That's good.
There's a special bond between grandparents and grandkids.
Tell me a story about your grandma or grandpa.
Oh, my grandma lived right next door. When my parents got married, their wedding gift from my grandma was the plot of land that was right next to hers, and they built a house on that, and that's where they raised their family. My grandma raised me because my parents both worked, so my grandma raised me from the time I was a baby.
How about one of your grandpas?
I only knew one of my grandpas. The other one passed away before I was born. And he was my father's stepfather. And he would come over every year at Christmas. He never missed a Christmas. Not with the family because he knew that it wasn't appropriate. But he always made sure he stopped by on the day before Christmas Eve and made sure he had a gift for us.
Broadcasting from Lanny Bernard Gallery, you're watching Family Heritage Stories. We'll be right back.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for
Excuse me, ma'am. Would you like to have my seat?
a little bit. R-E-S-P-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-C-T, take
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
What is made out of leather that sneezes?
What is made out of leather that sneezes? I don't know.
A shoe.
I'm Katie Higley. You're watching Family Heritage Stories.
Every veteran has a story that deserves to be remembered. At Family Heritage Stories, we collect, preserve, and share those personal experiences of our veterans. Your donations help us document and honor those veterans and their legacies for generations to come. Join us in ensuring that their legacies live on. Donate today at herosalutestories.org. So Stan, Rough Haven sounds like a shelter of some sort for animals. How in the heck did it start?
Rough Haven started when me and some of my friends had noticed that there were things that were missing in different types of animal advocacy groups. And that was what happens to an animal when somebody suddenly becomes homeless.
Oh.
Or somebody is trying to escape a domestic violence situation, or somebody has an emergency surgery and they have no community or no family that can take care of that pet. The thing that we noticed was that either the shelters were getting more and more occupied with these pets, or else people were choosing to forgo surgery, even life-saving surgery. And also they were deciding to, if they didn't have a place to live, because they wouldn't let an animal come, that they were deciding to live out onto the streets.
I want to make sure I understand this. Okay, a shelter, you drop a kid, a pet off at the shelter, and I hate to say it, but bye-bye, you're probably not going to see him again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Rough Haven is, for lack of a better term, I don't know if it's babysitting or foster care. What? Help me understand.
You nailed it, exactly. So what we do is we will take your cat or dog and we will board or foster them for anywhere from 60 to 90 days. So whatever crisis and temporary crisis situation you're going through, you can get the help that you need and get back to a good place where you will be reunited back with your pet so that they're not in a system where you won't ever see them again.
Wow. I mean, that's an incredible thing, because the other thing that I look at is I'm working with a number of people that are dealing with the domestic violence issues,
Yes.
and to be able to have options.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, because you're going to save the animal's life, but you quite literally could save a person's life.
Yeah. I mean, this really kind of, I'm going to get a little emotional.
That's okay.
It hits hard with us because we had we'd noticed there's a case where somebody was wanted to leave a domestic violence situation, and the abuser actually set their dog on fire and killed the dog, and that sparked us to actually go through, get help, and we actually formulated a bill. And that bill was HB 175.
So you were the guys behind that. Wow.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
Thank you. That is just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't remember the dog's name, but it was, that was just atrocious.
Yeah.
And the thing that I worry about is, and I realize it's kind of off topic, but I worry that if someone is going to abuse an animal, and I don't have any stats to back this up, but I got to think that the likelihood of them transferring from abusing an animal to abusing a person are pretty high.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's interesting because 50% of people will not leave an abusive situation because of that reason, that they threaten to abuse their animal. And with us, though, they're able to, we could take and foster or board their pet so they can go to a safe house or go somewhere safe. But the whole thing was, before this law came in, and it is a law now, was in place, that animals were just considered property. But now with this law, the animal can go under a protective order. Since we started, we have helped over 1,100 pets, over 900 families. We are at an 88% reunification, which is amazing.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and we actually do free vaccination clinics every quarter. So we do almost 1,100 every single year. Every quarter, we go out to the most underserved areas in Utah, and we do these on-site vaccination clinics. We'll give them the vaccination, we'll give them chips, and we'll do whatever we can for them so that they have that. We also have a food pantry. We have the largest pet food pantry in Utah.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think people think about that. That is
No.
interesting. Okay. Stan, thank you so much for coming on the Caring Stories. I mean, this is an incredible story. Now, we've been talking for a while, and obviously, you know, we got this little edited version in Family Heritage Stories, but for people to see the entire interview, I'm going to have them go to your website. So tell everybody what your website is again.
Our website is at roughhaven.org.
At roughhaven.org. Okay.
Our UFF.
Rough. Woof. Okay. Family Heritage Stories features examples of stories from the past to help shape the future.
If you would like help saving your stories with a private interview, contact Krista at fedorafoundation.org for pricing and availability. Everyone loves a great success story.
Hi guys, this is Doug Jessup with another episode of Utah Success Stories with a good friend and somebody that's actually a part of the show, believe it or not, Katie Higley. All the songs that you hear in Family Heritage Stories, she's the one that wrote them. It's like, is that cool or what? Anyway, so tell me about what you've been going, you got this new gig going on in Payson.
Okay, yes. It's called the Payson Heart Collective, and it is an amazing gathering spot for the community to come together to learn and grow and to blossom in the creative skills and talents. So we'll have creative, fun classes like ukulele and art and drawing and sculpting and musical theater. we have a huge mix of all the classes that help people come alive with their hearts. So that's really important to me.
The heart and music has been something that's been a part of your life for a lot of years.
Yes.
Okay, now you had a studio. Well, I guess you still have a studio. And what's the name of that original studio?
So the studio is called I Vibe Alive Studio, and it's where I have helped people blossom and grow in their artistry, and I help them from knowing nothing to helping them put songs on Spotify and just growing their influence with their music and sharing their hearts with the world. And that's been a really beautiful process to help people let those songs out of their hearts, because we all have beautiful messages inside of our hearts. And so I love helping people shine their light and giving them the tools and the abilities to really shine. And it's just the most beautiful thing to watch people grow. There's something so special about that heart art, the art that comes through our hands when we paint things, when we play things, when we engage and connect in performances or even connecting here, right? There's a lot of power that is shared and a lot of strength that we send out of our heart space, and it connects us. And so the more connecting opportunities we have, I feel like the closer we become as a people, as a community, as humanity. Really, it's just it's bringing everyone into one. And I love to say, like, I just want to be like a mom of the community and just like give everyone a hug and tell them like I love them and that they have they belong.
Now, Katie, we've had a really nice, long, extended interview talking about your fun projects in Payson, and we can't put it all on the show.
Yeah.
So we're going to send people to your website to see the rest. So do tell everybody, what's your website?
Okay, it's called PaysonHeartCollective.com. PaysonHeartCollective.com.
A little later in the show, we find the story behind one of the treasures remembered here at Anthony's Fine Art and Antiques.
This holiday, give the priceless gift of stories. Imagine capturing the voices, the wisdom, the humor of your loved ones. Talking from personal experience, I promise it will be cherished for generations. To schedule an interview with either yourself or one of your loved ones, contact Krista at fedorafoundation.org. Everybody comes from somewhere.
What does heritage mean to you?
This one we got in Paris, and we so loved it, and it's from 1920.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, and then this one is the turn of the century, this locket.
So,
And these are Baroque pearls, which are awesome, and we buy them one by one, and they're very special and a great Christmas gift.
so what's a Baroque pearl?
A Baroque pearl is a natural pearl that grows in the shell. And so that's what's fun about it. Every shell is one of a kind and different.
Wow. That's cool.
People come from all over to buy jewelry at the Lanny Bernard store because it's all one of a kind. And it's one of the things that make our store special because we didn't want to look like all the other stores.
You learn a lot about traditions, values, and culture when you travel.
It's time for Vacation Locations.
Objects with stories are treasures remembered. It's time now for a visit with Dr. Micah Christensen.
I'm here with Dr. Micah Christensen with Anthony's Fine Art. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous stained glass. Now, it looks like it's based on a famous painting.
That's right. Many people will be familiar with this image because it was based on a painting by the German artist Heinrich Hoffmann. This was made by Tiffany Studios in 1893 for the Danbury Baptist Church in Connecticut. It was made at the height of stained glass making in technique and quality in America by the greatest maker who arguably ever made work in stained glass, because Tiffany hired some of the best makers and designers, technicians from around the world. Stained glass, it's a dangerous activity. It requires very high temperature and materials, and many of the materials that they were using to make the stained glass are now illegal to work with. So you've got heavy metals like this green, which is a derivative of copper, or the white, which is a derivative of lead. And what you would do is you would use the mordants, which just means it bites into the glass, like arsenic, like mercury, and they would be fired at very high temps. You wouldn't live to a good old age usually if you were making stained glass. There's real texture in this. That's called drapery glass, which is a technique introduced by Tiffany. Some of it stands as far as an inch away from the window itself.
Everyone has a story.
Sometimes those stories are told through music.
I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the fall. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles. I love Paris every moment of the year. Oh, how I love Paris. Why do I love Paris so? Because my love is
What makes you smile? Spry Natural Xylitol mints make me smile. I think it might help you too.
It's our honor to be able to help people remember where they came from.
The Fedora Foundation supports the collection, preservation, and distribution of diverse stories of traditions, values, and culture, right here on TV and online as well at FamilyHeritageStories.org.
How do you want to be remembered? With another episode of Family Heritage Stories, I'm Nisha DeGaring.
And I'm Doug Jessup.
I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the fall. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles. I